everyone, and welcome back to LCS Academy. It's another great day, and it's going to be a wonderful time watching some more League of Legends Academy. It's shaping up great so far. My name is Sierra Dawn, your host for today, joined with these two lovely humans. First off, Joshi, hello, how's it going?
It's good. 5 straight days of Sierra and Joshi. What more could you ask for? We got a whole lot more League of Legends coming right your way, and I can't wait to get started.
Neither Magical as well going to be joining us. The self-branded villain, are you still feeling that sort of vibe going into today?
Well, see, this is where I was going to ask you. You said two lovely people, so would you quantify a villain as a lovely person?
Could be. Depends on the villain.
Depends on the villain. Depends
so wait,
on,
are you trying to say that I'm a lovable villain now? Is that what it is?
Well, we said you were Doofenshmirtz yesterday, and
okay.
he's lovable in his own way.
Yeah.
Even though his parents just left him.
Well, he was raised by wolves. Those are great parents.
Neither parent showed up for birth. You know, it's a tough time, but this is neither here nor there. Let's go on, talk a little bit about the reason why we're here, League of Legends. To start things off, of course, we do have a Champions Queue update. Got to check in with our Academy players to see how they're doing, and Cowrie, that third place. This is nice, Magical.
It is. I mean, Cowrie, we've already expected great things of. He's one of the top players over in the TCL and forms of ADC, and he was considered like the next coming of Luger, another great Turkish ADC that is before him now in CLG. And we'd want to see more out of Cowrie when it comes to the Academy play, but we know he's capable of it. You know that he is this player that can pop off. We saw it yesterday. We're seeing it in Champs Queue. We just need to make sure we're continuing to see that further into the season of Academy.
And we know that looking at Champions Queue, right, different teams have different priorities on how much they actually want to play Champions Queue versus solo queue versus scrimming. And it's interesting to see, right, that a bunch of teams have multiple representatives in our top 10 Academy players who are currently in Champions Queue, and multiple Academy players also in the top 10. We don't need to remind everyone that Dokla last year, the most valuable prospect, was consistently a top 5 Champions Queue player, always proving that he's looking to improve. And it's an easy way to show everybody not only can you play with your team, but you can also play with a variety of other strong players.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about Academy. It's all about improving Champions Queue. Is a nice way to be able to do that. And you can't have Academy every single day. And you got to be putting in those reps to try and make it to LCS. And quite a few players have. We have a little B-roll to talk over for this one. But love to see the players that have moved on to bigger and better things for Joshi.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite players of all time, Philip, coming through, actually has an opportunity to play LCS later this week, replacing Kumo, or at least temporarily, as Kumo will be joining us here in Academy. Gamsu also had an opportunity to move up, and I'm kind of surprised, right? We have so many top laners in particular who have an opportunity to move from Academy to LCS.
But let's be honest, Gamsu deserved that, handedly. We saw how much he was popping off. He deserved that, but same with Dokla. Our most valuable prospect, as you had talked about, Josh. This is a player who has popped off in Academy, and it's a well-deserved glove. Like, he popped off in the lock-in, he popped off in Academy, and it's just great to see him have the opportunity to show his stuff alongside Kenvi, as you can see here from the clip, another player that got promoted, got picked up by Immortals.
Yeah, we know that Kenvi had multiple LCS offers previously going into spring in the first place, right? We already knew he was LCS caliber. Finally, he decides, like, this is the one I'm going to take. Has an opportunity to play for Immortals, and they're going to get started later this week. I believe it's even tomorrow. So you can see how all of these new teams are going to be shaking out as they bring in new replacements, looking for opportunities to shine in the upcoming year and potentially go to Worlds.
Well, a big question that we have here in Academy, too, looking over all these players, the journeys that they're on, is who's next. We can see the proof in the pudding that this is a great way for players to make it into LCS. We actually have a little video made by Joshi himself about a couple of the picks that he thinks might be next to be hitting that big stage.
He's coming for a flank.
He's coming from the back. He's coming from the back. Here comes Tenacity. It is time to fight. Tenacity with the Ragnarok will rock Jay.
He's here.
Walking the way through. Harry's on the flank. Harry gets caught. The charm pulls him right on in, but there's the hostile takeover. Payback gonna be.
Oh, they save him!
Harry surviving. Harry's gonna be okay.
Poking his head onto Yon, the root comes down, no follow-up. And Bradley, yeah, Lucio's marking Bradley, making sure that he can protect his back. Like they turn their tail right onto Bradley. If they burn him down, that's a huge advantage.
Notoriously one of the best. Now in the top lane, Surdy looking to get a kill onto Bradley. A couple more autos should do it. A flash forward. He finds the Vital.
Each had a counter pick, but we got a pause. Oh,
Takeover and Copy both show up at the same time with a nice wild growth, trying to see if he can keep people alive, but Copy has to bail. True Shot Mirage getting a lot of damage to set up Hyper.
Tony Top's about to out. There's the cannon barrage. It's going deep. Will is able to isolate Tony Top, who's by himself for a while, but buying some time is going to be XU. Going with the stopwatch. A big pickup coming out for Tenacity. Getting the kill on the spawn. A double kill coming out for Tenacity as he's going to chase down all of Dignitas.
I am not surprised whatsoever to see that Ayla was the first person that you listed, the next that you want to see going up to LCS. But talk to me about these other players as well. You've talked so much about Ayla. Why the other picks on this list? What makes them LCS quality?
Well, so many of them have already shown that they are dominating their competition, and a lot of their orgs have already talked about how much work they're really putting into these talent, right? They want to make sure that these guys have an opportunity to start playing in 2023, and a lot of these guys have already had an opportunity to play at least one game on the LCS stage. Takeover had opportunities to play for TSM, swabbing in and out with Kaidua, and this is a situation where we know all of these guys are ready, they are pushing, they are developing, and we'll get to see an opportunity to see a lot of these guys tomorrow as we debut it, because while you guys already know all of these players quite well as Academy fans, all the LCS people, they don't know who some of these guys are yet. They need to learn. They need to learn quick.
Definitely do. Magical, do you have any qualms with this list? Is there anybody that Joshi should have mentioned that wasn't quite there?
Where's Pretty, man?
True!
I wanted him on the list too, but I was limited to 5. Limited to 5. He's definitely in an upcoming list, I promise.
All right. Be honest, how many people did you want to put on that list?
Like 7 or 8.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
Pretty's definitely on there. I think this is the split of Pretty. He's already shown several very strong games thus far, and if he can start developing his own advantages, if he has a good series or a good couple of games on the LCS stage this weekend, you know, we might see him just permanently take over the spot.
All right, that's fair. Someone I want to see, though, in Academy, someone that people have been waiting for, though, is Meech. We can finally welcome Meech in. I know we got a little bit of comments about the fact that we didn't put Meech on our players to watch, but we just haven't seen Meech yet. But now that we get to bring him in Magical, I'm really excited.
Exactly. He didn't get a play in Academy just yet. We saw him in Proving Grounds. He popped off there. And that's when I really started to focus on Meech and this guy's potential for the future and how he was able to carry Immortals AoE through some big upsets too, where it was surprising that they were keeping their own against the Academy rosters, just saying, hey, Meech is here to win. He is popping off, especially as you can see. I mean, let's be honest, how many ADCs don't have Zeri clips going on right now? Every single one of them I feel does, but Meech himself just has the mechanics worthwhile to invest in.
And it feels like only a matter of time before this entire Immortals AoE roster has an opportunity to play in Academy again, right? And Mid Girl, now named Soul, comes up. The Trevor has been playing as a substitute for a little while as well. And of course, the mid lane is also playing, right? Basically, everybody on Immortals AoE has shown that they are ready to play. Winston was one of our best junglers during summer and spring of 2021. And frankly, when you have such a talented roster, Meech is still able to stand out.
Yeah, well, not the only team that's finally getting their players all together. 100 Thieves also bringing Busio in this week. And we're starting to see a bit of a stronger look from them as well. Now they have their full roster, their full strength. It makes me happy, Magical.
Well, this is also Cubby's player to watch and has been for some time, but you can understand why. When he's back for the team, the shot calling he provides takes 100 Thieves to the next level. This week, we've already seen they look far more like the roster we expected going into this year. Just what's bringing him back now that he's back from the Korean boot camp. Everything from 100 Thieves seems like it's fully in order. They got big wins and were able to fall off the shot calling of Busio in so many of these, like the calls where he finds these picks, calls for the TPs behind. It is always off the back of Busio.
And it's not just the fact that he's back, right? He's also been showing that he's able to play a variety of different champions. Last split, we mostly knew him for playing things like the Tahm Kench and the Nautilus, especially as you were looking towards Proving Grounds finals. But he comes back, he's instantly like, yeah, you know, we'll play some enchanters as well. We're going to show that we can do all kinds of things. This kid has hands, and as he learns to play the lane better and better every game, he's going to be freaking scary to go up against.
Yeah, I'm excited to see as the rosters are getting all of their players together, them unlock their true potential going in. But Team Liquid is a team that didn't actually have to worry about that whatsoever. They were able to come into Academy, they were able to hit the ground running, and that they did, including yesterday, because this win over Immortals was setting a record for the fastest Academy game so far, Joshi.
Yeah, the previous record that I was aware of was in 2019, and the fact that they broke it after 3 years in a game that I didn't even know was really possible to still win this quickly at this level of play is absolutely shocking. Watching Jan's grow throughout the course of spring into summer is ridiculous. It's one of those things where if I had known that he was going to be playing like this the entire split, if I had known how much growth he was going to see, he's another player that is quickly making a case for, I need to be in LCS as well. It's not just Ayla making me look good. I'm able to do some carrying on my own.
I also don't know how I feel being part of history for the shortest game possible. I'd much prefer the longest game possible just because I like to have battles back and forth that last through the tests of time. But the fact that we got to cast that and we're treated to just clean gameplay out of Team Liquid Academy. It is them proving why they won the title in the first place from spring and looking like they might get back-to-back titles if they can continue to play this dominant fashion.
I mean, you say that you want to be here for the record for longest game, but I also do think it's impressive when a team can come out here, strut their stuff, and show that they deserve that title that they've had. They deserve to be one of these teams that we're talking about and deserve all the praise that we're giving them, especially when we're looking at who's next, each of these players trying to make their claim. That's good stuff. I just want to throw that out there. And we're going to see them to start off the day. It's going to be a fun full day ahead of us, and Team Liquid is going to be kicking it off going up against Dignitas. Later on, Immortals up against FlyQuest, trying to bounce back after that loss yesterday, and then Evil Geniuses and 100 Thieves to end off the day. Of course, over on our second channel, though, Path to LCS, there's matches over there as well. TSM going up against CLG, Cloud9, and Golden Guardians. But we have all the great stuff over here. You don't have to go too far. Let's be real here as well before we head into our matchup. If you want to follow along all the Academy action, or you want to let us know who you're watching, any thoughts you have about Academy, make sure to let us know below at Path to LCS. But time to talk about our first match. Team Liquid, a team that likes to try and get in and out under an hour, let us go on our day, up against Dignitas. It should be a lot of fun. And let's look at this Team Liquid roster, Joshi, because each one of these players is someone we can talk about at length.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. It's not often that you see a team that, one, stayed together, and two, won the previous championship, have as much growth in as short a time as Team Liquid. I mean, again, I talk about it a lot. Every single one of these guys should be getting LCS offers if winning the championship, getting the record, having the lowest average game time, and beating multiple teams with near-perfect games in the first couple of weeks isn't something to really write home about. I don't know what else these guys can do to impress you. They've been my favorite team for a while, and now it feels incredibly justified watching them sweep away the competition.
However, they are not infallible. They have ways that they have already lost in this season alone, getting the 0-2 wipe from CLG. What
doesn't suit my narrative? That doesn't suit my narrative. We're gonna have to move on. I'm going to erase the CLG games from my memory.
No. This is why I have to. I have to make sure you're learning your lesson, old man. That you're knowing that Team Liquid.
You're older than me.
Okay. Before this gets too dirty, okay, maybe we'll have this discussion again after the match. We'll see what Team Liquid can do. But looking at this Dignitas roster, Magical, do you think this is the day that Team Liquid then can make Joshi eat his words?
I mean, there's a good possibility, because you look top to bot, and the only one that's still the sub for the team is Tony Top, but he's been putting on a performance of why he deserves to be in Academy still, and he's one of the 2 players that I had said I want them to remain in Academy, Tony Top and Wixie. They have been performing as these temp subs for the rosters in a great way that I think he's going to be able to take it to Bradley in a really close battle, but I can say the same thing for XU versus Armeo, Insanity versus Harry, Spawn and JJ versus Jan and Ayla. This is a close matchup.
Yeah,
well,
if you're going to be fighting fire with fire, Dignitas is going to be the team to do it, right? Both these teams like to fight. Both of them are going to be going head-on against the other, and we're probably going to have one of our highest kill games of the split.
No 18-minute game today. We are going to have kills. We are going to go to 50-some-odd minutes. We're going to set another record back-to-back days.
Well, one of the fire matchups that we have too is XU going up against Armeo here. XU has been really impressive so far. Actually, Kelsey's player to watch going into this, but this will be a really good test for XU considering that Armeo is fantastic at this jungle control, Joshi.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, we talked about fire versus fire. XU is that fire. Armeo might be a little bit of the ice, but XU constantly looking for opportunities to go for a plays. He's got a killer instinct that is not really matched by almost anybody else in the academy scene. Watching him go in every single time and just have the confidence to try and make things happen really make him a player that has a lot of potential looking towards the upcoming years. For now, though, he is still looking to try and prove that he can do more than make a lot of timing attacks, make some flashy plays. If he can match Armeo's control, if he can start figuring out where the gaps are in Armeo's jungle pathing, XU has a lot of opportunity to make the series very close.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, if we're going to continue along this narrative of fire matchups, we need to be talking about Yon and Spawn as well. Because Yon yesterday, absolutely fire match, red hot. But we got to talk about the stories here, Magical, because Spawn is someone maybe we don't talk about quite as much, but this is a similar sort of path these two have.
Wait, are we just not going to give any love to Armeo here? Am I not allowed to talk about Armeo and how good he is and how I expect him?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, come on. I want to talk about Armeo.
No, let's talk.
No,
Okay, let's go talk about. Then you know what? Magical, let's talk about Armeo.
Yeah, thank you.
Why are you so passionate? Yes, why are you so passionate? Why do you want to be talking about Armeo here?
Because if you're going to
stick to the fighting.
If you're going to stick to the fire and ice, while fire might melt ice, ice becomes water to extinguish the flames of XU, like he did to Chad just yesterday. The control he got early into this game, in both games, 1 and 2. The second game, right out of the gates, utilizing the Volibear in the forest, where the bear just makes sure you know it is that territory controlled purely by Armeo, and he even did the same thing in the first game. Did a very similar objective kind of clear where he was able to fight around the Scuttle Crab top lane to push Chad out, so Chad never had that opportunity to make those early plays like he likes to. Similar kind of fashion to XU, and I would expect that Armeo could do the exact same thing.
Magical, you feel better now?
I do feel better now. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
being listened. I feel heard.
I'm glad, bud. I'm glad. Well, you got that out of your system. You got to talk about Armeo. Now, let's talk about Yon and Spawn, because they deserve some love too, even if you wanted to go on Armeo. Magical, tell me about why these two deserve some love, because they definitely deserve it.
I mean, Spawn versus Yon is just going to be an insanely hype matchup, because when we look at how the Dignitas bot lane has been playing, right there, you can see Ascena Tom Kench lane getting a double kill in the bot lane over an Ezreal Karma lane. They are willing to fight early. They're willing to roam around the map and try to find these early angles so they can snowball out of control and make sure their opponents aren't going to be able to do the same thing. So it's just more of a growth thing from them. But then on the other side, Yon, I think, is also someone who's been doing a great job. He's got Ayla in his back pocket. Both of them have been performing amazingly in lane. And that's why I think, like Josh had kind of talked about, I expect this to be a high kill game as well, because I expect every single lane to battle tooth and nail.
Yeah, well, at this point, too, I think it might be insanity to not talk about his sanity here going up against Harry, because Harry yesterday, Joshi, phenomenal game. Oh, are you?
Okay, it's okay.
Magical, we're going to throw it to you.
I'll answer the question for him.
Yeah,
When you look at Harry, he was playing the counter matchup into Azir, picking Yone, which struggles for the first few levels, but after that, once he's got the levels in, get some items under his belt, he easily can take it to the face of an Azir who wants to utilize that range even in the earlier stretches of the mid game, like at level 7, level 8, to try to bully around the lane opponent, but can't do so against Yone, who's like, nah, you're not allowed to poke me because I'm just going to fight you into your face. And that's what Yon did. He made sure that there was no way you can have Pretty get control at all just by fighting right in his face. With the Azir, too, and it's not like Pretty did a bad job. It's just Harry on Yone was that powerful. And then once he needed to join the team fights, those fate-sealed ults were so crucial for them to make sure they could secure those kills.
Yeah, well, Magical, then, as we wait for Joshi to hop back into the conversation, this is your time for all of your opinions, and he can't argue back. So heading into this match, I know that you talked a little bit at the beginning of maybe Team Liquid, they can take losses. They might not be as good as we've been talking about, or not as godlike that we've been talking about. Tell us why that might not be going in today's match, or you think that they might actually just have this advantage over Dignitas.
So if I have to say things, if I want to say things that Josh can't argue back, just ignoring your points completely, Sierra, I gotta talk about how Axiom Arc is the best item in the game. Omrecker before it was overpowered and the best item.
I said ignore Joshi. I said not ignore me. Come on.
I heard ignore, and so I just that's as far as I got. And then I'm like, all right. But yeah, Axiom Arc is super powerful. Every champion should build that. If you have any form of hard CC, you should go Glacial Augment. Does not matter who you are. Always Glacial Augment. And if not, you go Dark Harvest. Let's see, what else can I say? Yeah, I already said Axiom Arc. Bring back Omrecker and Zizarot. Play more Mundo. Well, no, don't play Mundo right now. He's terrible. I know I've got some more. Oh, yeah. Play AP Volibear. Definitely play AP Volibear. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, okay, that's what I got.
Proud of you, bud. I'm excited for Joshi to join back later and maybe throw a couple of hands. But come on, answer my question. I want to know your take on this matchup that we have. Because you were talking some big words earlier.
No, I mean, I always talk big words. Big brain. So that's just how it works. But if I look at both teams and look at this matchup, I genuinely think if two teams are going to set a record for, again, back-to-back days, it's going to be these two. But it's not going to be the same record that is being broken the quickest game. It's going to be either the bloodiest game that we have in Academy or the longest.
All right. Welcome back, Joshi, as well. Any fighting words for Magical?
I heard some things about different builds and items that probably shouldn't be built on champions, but we'll leave that. We'll see if anybody does it. We know with our results-based analysis, we'll be able to figure out where Magical is.
Hey, Omrecker had 100% win rate. I am god tier when it comes to my analysis. And Axiom Arc, once it gets built, will have the same sort of stats. You just wait.
I'm waiting.
All right. Well, Joshi, I got to hear Magical's take on the matchup that we have ahead of us, too. And I want to know yours as well, because we talked a lot about good things about Team Liquid. Are we in agreement that this might be a long, drawn-out, bloody game that we have here ahead of us?
Long and drawn out, I think, is actually like one of the least likely things to happen. I think it's going to be pretty stompy one way or another between these two teams. While I think Team Liquid is favored to do that, because of the way that these teams play, they're going to be fighting over and over again. And typically, once the team that gets ahead, they tend to stay ahead, right? Because you're just doing the same thing, but better than your opponents. And so we're going to see very quickly which one of these teams is very likely to come out ahead. And if Team Liquid don't have the resiliency like they had in some of the other games where they kind of fell behind a little bit but managed to turn it around, it's probably going to be a very quick, very decisive set of games.
No. No quick games.
I'm down for a 15-minute banger of them just fighting. I don't think that's quite where we're headed.
So we just think whoever starts getting an advantage out of the gate, whoever starts winning is getting these picks, is just going to be a team that just snowballs right into the end.
Yeah, whoever gets first blood wins the game. It's just, we'll call it on the spot.
Oh. Magical? What's that look for?
No.
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 All right. I mean, why are you so sure then, with two teams that could really throw up a fight, Magical, that there's going to be a long game?
Because that's the reason. They can both throw up a fight even when behind. I have faith that they're going to keep it even, that their team fights, their skirmishing is going to keep this game relevant for pretty much the stretch of time until it's eventually at the point where even one skirmish that goes awry is the end of the game.
Okay. Two very different results pinpointed by both of you. Either way, either conclusion, it's going to be a good match. It should be a good match.
Just my conclusion. Just mine.
All right. Well, we'll see. But it's time to head into the Champ Select. It is time to see. I'll catch up with you two later and see who was right.
Yeah, we will see who is right after this first game, Josh. Hopefully I'm right, because I like to have those long, drawn-out games where they're battling back and forth, tooth and nail for that victory. But as we dive into Champion Select, Tony tops Jax, the first ban. He has been willing to blind pick this throughout these past few games, and it's actually looked nearly unstoppable.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that Dignitas, they know they're playing with a substitute, and they want to make sure that he's comfortable, right? Just because he's coming in as the extra player, he needs to make sure that he's able to integrate very naturally. Everything's going to be making sense. And if you just give him champions that you know he's super sick at, it's going to find you a lot of success. That's why he's been playing the Camille. That's why he's been playing the Jax. And as we see Team Liquid continuing to ban, they're taking away another pocket pick from Insanity.
They are taking away things I feel they're not comfortable playing against. Making sure that it's not a matchup that they're just unused to, that they haven't really gotten the practice against. We saw the Vel'Koz from Insanity catch off guard last week in I think the first series of games that they played. Just double checking my notes really quick. It was the very first game too, against Evil Genius's Academy, where it was the Vel'Koz into Zoe, and here with Yuumi being banned, while Zeri's still open, and it's really interesting to see that they opted for the Senna matchup from Spawn and JJ as opposed to grabbing Zeri, since we know Spawn can play that just as well. Gaunt does not have one of the two supports that tends to go very well with Zeri.
Exactly, and so it almost feels like Dignitas are trying to push Team Liquid to play a certain bottom lane. Typically, when you see these banned away, the next thing that you typically see coming out from Ayla has been the Renata, but you can still play Renata alongside Zeri. It's not the strongest combination ever, but it still makes a lot of sense. It does everything you want a bot lane to do, and Team Liquid have shown that they're willing to play our non-standard bottom lanes. You don't need to be the Senna Tahm-Kench. You don't need to be the Ezreal Karma. They're willing to play things like the Ezreal Lulu or the Aphelios Karma. As long as it's just two good champions, they're always going to be finding success, and we're seeing a lot of similarities between Team Liquid's draft today as the one we saw where they speed ran yesterday.
That Volibear pick for Armeo, that was also super critical for how Armeo got that early lead against Chad. Looks like he wants to replicate that against XU, kind of what I was calling out before, how Armeo is this control type jungler who likes to gain control, know exactly where his opposition is at all times, so he can manipulate the pathing throughout the game.
Yeah, and so we're seeing very standard bottom lane come through for Dignitas. They have had plenty of success on this already, and they definitely have a strong level 1 as well. They have slows on the Tahm-Kench, they have slows on the Senna, and so, you know, yesterday, Magical, we got a little bit of your shenaniganeries when Armeo just, like, walked into Chad's jungle. I feel like that's going to be a little hard this time, especially since, XU tends to play champions that just go for fights. The Viego coming through. This is a very difficult 3-man squad to kind of invade, but it also feels like we might be going toward. You know, Zeri's level 1 is like.
But this is literally what was played except for the Karma for Ayla last time around when they went for that level 1 shenaniganeries at Red Buff, where they stole away the red early from Chad's Viego. It feels like Team Liquid are just replicating the same gameplay against XU here.
We'll take a look and see. I mean, it's not completely ridiculous for them to try and go for it, but I don't think it's something we're necessarily going to try and flip right off the bat. And as we look towards the rest of the game, I have to imagine that Dignitas is once again looking at like this 1-3-1 kind of style that has become a lot more popular, and that's why Team Liquid is trying to limit their ability to play it. It's the Jax, Camille, and Gangplank, the three things that Tony Top has played so far, all taken off the table. And as he starts reaching deeper into his pockets, Tony Top was well known for just playing a handful of champions really well previously, and this is going to be his opportunity to show that he's able to play more than just a handful of champions.
Well, the one that's sticking out in my mind that's still open is Gwen. Gwen was a champion that we saw dominate the meta in spring, but also Tony Top, while not as comfortable at the beginning, was able to learn the champion very well. And in fact, has played it, I believe, this split already too. So it's not like it's out of his wheelhouse to try to play this champion into Bradley, something that can scale well into the game, that's going to be able to punish early mistakes. But it's all up in the air, especially because we do have two top lane bans already, making a third with a few are taken away.
Yeah, and with all these bans coming through, we know that Bradley has played a fair number of champions, right? He still has the Olaf, he still has the Kennen, he still has the Aatrox.
Well, Olaf he played though, but I thought he got kind of nerfed by 10B and 11.
Olaf is like still playable, but I don't think it's something that Bradley's likely to bring out. I was actually expecting him to go for the Fiora if it was available, but as we talk about it, it is going to be the Olaf. Olaf pairs incredibly well with the Renata. You already have very strong frontline coming through from Team Liquid. They're a little bit light on engage. There's definitely going to be dependent upon just running at them and Dignitas not being able to deal with it.
I have a feeling that I already know what is going to be played by the side of Team Liquid in that mid lane. If it's exactly the same kind of draft that they went for yesterday, they're just waiting to see if Insanity locks in Azir. And since that is Insanity's best performing champion, the Yone for Harry rises up in priority. Even if there's not that much magic damage on the side of Team Liquid, you're not going to really care about that if you're looking to end the games as quickly as they did yesterday.
Yeah, and honestly, like having a non-diverse damage profile only really matters if there are people who can efficiently itemize against it.
Yeah.
So like XU can, at this point, he's choosing to look at the Death's Dance and kind of drops away the Maw of Malmortius, but that is a good answer coming through in terms of...
But they don't!
Okay, this makes a lot of sense as well, right? The Wukong definitely gets plenty of extra resistances, and so it becomes very artificially tanky, but it feels like Team Liquid, they are very quickly switching it up. They played the Yone multiple times into the previous Azir, and now they're looking at something else. I know Ayla's like a bit of a troll hoverer. He does this pretty often.
Nah, it's the Yone.
And it is going to be the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I expected. That it's just looking at how how well Harry did into this matchup yesterday against Pretty, another great player who likes to play these control mages, who does a great job on Azir. If he could do that well into Pretty, I feel like he's looking to replicate that here now against Insanity. But Insanity, I think his Azir is even a level higher than that of Pretty's. He has been
perhaps,
keeping with the puns, he's been insane on Azir.
Yeah.
All the scoops he's gotten with those Emperor's Defies to catch members off guard. The only thing is the Olaf, because he can use Ragnarok, should be able to get out of there, but that does create a bit of a split fight looking at both teams, and like we had kind of called out, it is a single damage profile team, and with Wukong, who, if I recall, his passive only gives him armor anyways, that's perfect going into the composition built up by Team Liquid.
Yeah, we'll see how well Tony Top is actually able to pilot this. I don't know if I've seen him play it in the past, but the big thing that I really want to focus in on is, again, that mid lane, because we've talked about the Azir a little bit. We both like Insanity's Azir a little bit better than Pretty's, but as we load onto the Rift, we'll see if they actually play it.
Getting ready for our first game. It is week 2, day 2. Dignitas Academy versus the reigning champions, Team Liquid Academy. They want to topple their successes that they've gotten so far here in summer, sitting at 3-0-1 at the top of the standings.
And they want to try and continue pushing forward that advantage. Now, I want to zoom in on this mid lane a little bit, partly because there's a lot of people hanging out there, but mostly because Harry versus Insanity is going to be very pivotal for this matchup. One, this is what Coach Spawn said. He was saying that he was expecting Dignitas versus Team Liquid was going to be determined based on how these two guys played, and they're just going in, what?
Oh,
XU.
This is what I expected, and with that, it is XU dying, not even burning the flash.
That's definitely a ha right there. XU just walking up, not respecting the number of people that could be there from Team Liquid. I like the path that Harry took to get over there, but that is disastrous for the top lane, Magical. We were looking at this mid lane, Harry versus Insanity going to be a big thing. Insanity playing versus old team, but now it's Bradley. He gets the first blood right off the bat. His Ignite's down, but just the ability to walk up and take control and put XU behind. XU's not really going to be late to his buffs, which is the most disastrous thing, but he just doesn't expect that multiple people can be in this bush.
Right, he doesn't even get a chance to flash over the wall. Realized that they would all flash after him if he flashed over the wall, so it puts him behind early. And this is what I kind of expected. You were wondering if Armeo was going to attempt this kind of playstyle against someone different, but he's doing the exact same thing to XU that he did to Chad yesterday.
You know, it's not a full-on invade. I feel like XU has had a couple of bad moments this way.
Blood before the minions even spawned.
Okay, that's true. That's true. That is a pretty big bonus going over towards Team Liquid, right? Armeo is very happy he's going to be clearing, and he clears faster as he clears towards the top side of the map. And Bradley, we have to pay attention to how well he's going to be able to control this top lane. Going up against Tony Top, he now knows that XU is not going to be chilling out on the top side of the map, and Bradley is so much more comfortable just pushing this in. And at the same time, Jan and Ayla, they also saw that XU went toward the top side.
Nice side step from both of them, though, to get away from the Abyssal Dive, then use a bit of poke on to spawn. Well, top lane, trading of damage. But going back to the bot lane, I kind of want to keep focusing on this, because this is one of our other matches that we really did want to pay attention to, was Spawn versus Yawn. And at the moment, this is kind of the Yawn we expect when he has Zeri. Get full control right out of the gates and make sure that Spawn and J&J feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, and we have to remember that yesterday they had such a strong lead over their bottom lane that we couldn't really see the members of IMT, Arrow, and Joey. They never really got to get off the ground in terms of actually farming and having money. But as XU comes behind, does he get spotted? He does.
Abyssal Dive, too, gets the flash, but they already got the chains connected on to Yawn. He jumps over. Nice lightning surge away to make sure that he is fine.
Yeah, good job coming out from Spawn and JJ. We saw a lot of really big roots coming out from Senna yesterday, and it had a huge impact on a lot of the early game dives, especially when we were seeing Tomio come bottom lane. But it does mean that Jan has to blow both summoners, and all the control that they had previously built up has largely been lost. They're going to be able to crash this, and Ayla just needs to make sure he doesn't go down.
Ayla should be fine. Has flash still. It's back towards its turret, and with Yawn rushing back from base, not even getting a full heal and mana, making sure that he can get back to this lane as quickly as humanly possible. Still is not necessarily the lane state that you'd want for Yawn. He is now an easy target for XU, who has his flash back up.
Ooh, and brutal. Armeo, even with the sweeper, doesn't recognize that there are 3 wards already placed, plus the Scuttle Crab by Dignitas in the eastern quadrant of the map. And so Armeo, he's on perfect information for the side of Dignitas, and that's going to allow the yellow team to play a little bit more aggressively.
Josh, how do you know that that's the eastern side?
Well,
I mean, it could just look like that to us.
Up is north.
Well, it could be, but I think that up is where the sun is. And that, like, you know, straight up north is where the sun is, which wouldn't make sense then for that to be north.
Like, I don't know enough about the celestial bodies of Runeterra to really have a strong opinion on which way north is. I'm just using it because it's obvious. You want me to say the right quadrant instead? Because what if that's the correct quadrant?
You know, no, I feel like it's just more of a discussion. I feel like there's a lot that can be learned here, especially about the celestial bodies of different planets and different areas. But that, I think that's for a different time. That's for when we're off stream. As for right now, Armeo, he's got a level advantage against XU, but XU is not that far behind him.
Yeah, and with Eternity leaving, it's just a smite fight. Armeo wins it, picks up the big chicken. And with all of this going on, with the relative lack of fighting after the first blood and then the attempted gank bottom lane, the biggest winner right now has to be Bradley still, right? He's got a huge advantage going into Tony Top, and we were already asking how well he was going to be able to push his lead, push the fact that he got this first blood, push Tony Top around, and so far the answer is pretty good.
I like. Oh, nice handshake. Ayla saving Jan's life.
That definitely could have been a kill if Ayla doesn't
not
pop off
definitely.
there.
He has no flash, no heal, and XU is right there. That would have certainly been Yon dying.
Either way, Jan gets alive, and Team Liquid are none the worse for wear at the end of it. This is one of the big things that they've always done, right? Ayla is so good at holding his abilities and waiting for the right moment to use them, but it still allows Dignitas to get enough priority in the bottom lane. Spawn has landed a couple of these crucial routes in order to put Jan in uncomfortable positions, and the lead that Jan and Ayla were previously building is not necessarily going to be as strong, and Sen and Tahm Kench, later on in the game, they will have a ton of range to play with, they will be very tanky, and because JJ is getting all this money, he can actually itemize a lot of armor against the way that Team Liquid's looking to play. These small advantages now are big.
Bradley can just walk under turret, slap Tony Top a few times, wait for the minions to get close by. He can even continue to proxy if he really wanted to.
He can, but as he backs away, still just going to be a small advantage. Tony is going to be forced to back. Armeo does let Tony Top know exactly where he is, and as he clears out these wards, Tony needs to be very careful. Armeo has been known to just kind of sit in this bush and wait around for you to come back, and as he does the blue buff, this could be a huge win. If Bradley and Armeo take down Tony Top here, Tony's life is over.
Yeah, but Tony Top without TP walking back to lane, that's a long time to kill for Armeo, which would give too much ample opportunity for XU to try to make a play elsewhere. So instead, he takes the blue buff, getting that advantage over XU, making sure that he's denying as much as possible, controlling the jungle. That is the name of the game for Armeo.
Goes back and clears out his cam. So we also see that XU looking to get a recall, going to be going back onto the top side. I thought he was going to go bottom lane again, try and upset the balance of power, continue to put Spawn and JJ ahead. And for the first time, Magical, despite the first blood going over to Team Liquid, you know, it doesn't feel like they are in as comfortable control as they might have liked to be based on how the first level went. And when Spawn and JJ are starting to step up to Jan and Ayla, that's going to be a big thing, because we know that Spawn is one of our top 3 AD carries for sure. JJ is still trying to make the same argument that he is on par with what I think is the uncontested best support in the league.
But for my sake, I'm looking at Team Liquid.
Okay,
I feel
Spawn.
like they're still in a good spot, even if it's not as dominant of a lead. But that could have been a big pick. It was a nice use of the snap away, and then the Fate Seal to get out of dodge. But Ayla using his ult could be detrimental for their defense around Rift Herald.
It looks like they might be done in time. XU trying to smite steal.
I don't know if they're going to be done. It's flashing away. XU, you have the advantage. You had to heartbreak out of there. Well, Bradley continues to chase you down, and Tony Top wants to defend the Rift Herald, trying to fight Cyclone in onto Bradley, as it was the site secure onto Rift Herald on the other side. Armeo Sky Splitter shield will make sure he gets a little bit of distance. He's trying to protect Bradley as they walk away, but the flash coming in from Tony Top, not enough. Only getting the shield out of Bradley, so it's all lost in Team Liquid's victory.
Oh, there he goes in. Watch for the root.
Let's see. Nice sidestep. Could have been a lot worse.
With all of the play going on the map, I'm surprised we're still only at 1 kill. Bradley charging forward, Tony Top trying to counter-engage, none of them able to actually find kills in both teams. Despite the fact that we were expecting them to just be full-on committal, full fight mode, they're showing a lot of discipline, and we know that's something that Team Liquid does, but this is something that feels a little bit newer coming out from Dignitas, right? They bring in the veteran Insanity. He's had LCS play. He's played with Team Liquid for a long time. He's looking to be much safer.
Nice knock-up. Jan Spark surges over the wall. Probably just a good idea, just to get out of there. Wasn't sure who was nearby, even if you have that ward in the tri-bush. Could always be that XU would look for a lane gank. Respect them getting out of there. At the moment, there's not really much for Team Liquid to gain or lose here on the bottom side of the map. Only thing that they could really look for is forcing out Dignitas so they can drop down the Rift Herald and get those plates onto Jan.
And we know what Jan can do with it, right? You talked about it yesterday. Don't give Jan this champion. I always think of him as one of the first, but they find XU.
Oh, XU! He gets caught out. The Stormbringer bringing the storm to XU.
Ooh, okay, Armeo takes 1 turret shot, is able to back out, but that is still 3 plates and a kill going over to the side of Team Liquid. That's so much money picked up by Jan out of nowhere. And suddenly, you know, we always look at Jan as one of the players who doesn't show up to the Rift Herald fight. Team Liquid will send Ayla up there in order to try and make sure they secure that objective, but Jan is typically down bottom lane, still farming. We saw that exact same thing here, so he's going to be further ahead of Spawn, and now finding those plates and that kill just exacerbates the problem.
So now Insanity looked like he was in a bit of danger, but he was able to sidestep the handshake from Ayla. Will be fine in mid lane, as this is the point when it gets difficult for Insanity to lane against Harry. Level 9 for each of them. Let's take a look at the replay that we had in that bot lane. This was just a great call all around by Team Liquid, and XU showing. Yikes.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, disabling the turret, not getting the damage immediately, but just making sure you don't take any turret shots is enough.
Ooh. Hostile takeover as there was an attempted invade. They're using Devour to try to get XU out of there with a fat shield as well. But that's a lot lost on the side of Dignitas, no longer having that defensive tool from JJ.
And now we're seeing the fight over the potential Infernal Dragon. Remember, Tony, he has teleport, but it's not unleashed. And Team Liquid, they don't seem keen on giving this up just quite yet. They're poking and prodding as Harry gets mid-control.
I'm glad you said that the TVs aren't unleashed. It's still only 12 minutes into the game, so Dignitas attempting to make sure they can get themselves a second dragon and a win condition for the future, as JJ barely skirts danger, but they re-engage from Harry, gets a lot of damage, and JJ, no way, okay, the Spark Surge with the Lightning Crash picks up the kill on the other side as he can duel against Spawn. Spawn has no way to fight against Yanni, the flash in to make sure he can secure himself a double kill with fashion.
2 kills going over for Jan for the price of an Infernal Dragon. A turret goes down in the bottom lane. Jan goes from slightly ahead to so strong out of nowhere. He has so much money as they take away this bottom side of the map. XU's gonna start falling behind. This is something Team Liquid does so well. As soon as they feel like they have the advantage, as soon as they are in control on the map, they start taking away the jungle camps. As we take a look at this once again, Team Liquid, you know, they would like the dragon, but they seem way more interested in taking the fight. Notice how Harry doesn't go for the rest of the team. He goes for JJ. He wants to pick up these kills. And as JJ ends up going down and Dignitas disengage the top side, they leave multiple people in different spots. They kite in different directions, and that just leaves Team Liquid in total control. And Jan, again, Spring Jan, I don't know if he does this. Summer Jan, absolutely.
He is out of control on Zeri. 2-0 with the 4 plates and the turret afterwards put into the pocket, into the coffers of Jan. Look at the lead he has. You can't compare it against Spawn since it is the fasting Senna, but compare that to JJ. You're still sitting at 4,000 while he's nearly at 6,000. That is a good percentage of the lead just in this one marksman.
But I like Dignitas's allocation of lanes at the moment as well, right? Insanity is not going to get pushed in by Jan and Ayla super heavily. It's kind of difficult for them to wave clear up against the Azir. So that gives opportunities for Dignitas to kind of farm back in a little bit. But while they do that, they can also look in the bottom lane. Harry on this Yone, as he clears out the wave, might get caught.
Fine. Even with the snapback, he's got distance to his turret, that flash too to keep himself safe, but here's XU looking to see if they can get the stun, but Harry was wise to it, got out of dodge.
Yeah. This definitely is a game where Harry's feeling a lot more pressure, right? The walls are closing in a little bit, like he will sometimes say if he feels too much pressure from the side lanes, but oh no, Tony Top getting caught?
Yeah, the thing is, he thinks he can fight against Jan at this point, but yeah, he really can't. Jan is looking incredible for the 3rd game in a row on Zeri.
3rd straight game. I like that you bring that up, right? He started playing this only this week, right? Or at least for this split, right? He's been playing this champion for quite a while.
I was about to say.
But his first 3 games have been all in week 2 of Academy. It's not something he was showing. I was expecting that we might be seeing a ton of Ezreal Aphelios from him like we were kind of seeing last split. But now that Zeri's back in the net, he's like, yep, give me my comfort champ. I want to carry games. I'm going to take control. And as we see this, I know that Spawn was saying we were going to have to pay attention to the mid lane, but neither Harry nor Insanity have found large advantages yet.
No, I mean, they've just been playing around Jan. The fact that teams are still letting Jan play it after the games yesterday is incredible. But that's that little nice knock-up coming in from the side of JJ, looking for Jan. He's still alive, but the bailout isn't going to be enough. He gets bailed out of the trouble that he found himself in so they can turn this around. Jan is still fairly low.
Harry!
They're cutting it back the best of the game, but Harry to save the day. He's got the knock-up on the Spawn, and he chases him down for a nice double kill.
That's a tilter. That's one of the biggest tilters I've ever seen in a game of League of Legends Magical. You saw they caught Jan. They caught the 80 carry to start the fight. He's supposed to be dead to rights. Dignitas are supposed to win that fight, but they can't convert it. Team Liquid execute cleanly, and they get everybody out, and they reward themselves with not just the kills. It's the mid lane turret, it's the Rift Herald, and now they're going to be able to reset for the upcoming Dragon. Team Liquid are threatening a near perfect game at this point. As we take a look at this replay, Alex, we'll have to watch what happens to Jan, right? He's been playing on the edge of his capabilities all summer long, and this time I thought he was punished. I thought he was donezo. The manifesto was already written, but he's able to get out with the help of Ayla. He knows exactly how much damage he's able to do.
Now look at Insanity as he dove in, and they just focus on him afterwards. They make sure they can kill Insanity, so they get the bailout onto Jan.
Exactly, that's the big thing. Because Insanity gets hit by that hostile takeover, he's not able to get the last auto attack. He's not able to kill Jan a second time through the bailout.
It's Ayla, perfect placement of that ult again. This is a clean ace. It was a 4v5 fight as well, to put it to boot too. This game is all Team Liquid. I didn't think that it would be a close game like, not close game, a early game like it was yesterday here against Dignitas, but Team Liquid, they are in rare form to start off this split.
Look, remember what we said at the beginning? First blood instantly wins the game. Magical, how we feeling?
Shut up! Hate you.
It's okay. I know you love me, but Team Liquid,
games.
I think we might be, we will be lucky if we get half that at this point. They are 10,000 gold ahead at just under 18 minutes, and Harry starting to feel himself.
Well, this is the point when the counter matchup really comes into full force. The Yone can battle against the Zero at any point into this game with the Immortal Shield Bow as well. Now that he's got TP unleashed and everyone pushing down bot lane, while they won't break their record from yesterday, they will certainly start crashing minions just as early.
And they still have the Rift Herald as well, right? No real threat of Dancing Shelly at this point, unless Team Liquid find another catastrophic fight up against the members of Dignitas. But we have to start asking again a very similar question we asked that Immortals had. Like, if you are getting thrashed like this, how do you come back from it? Because it feels like the fight should have gone better.
I'm curious as that as well, because at the moment I'm not really seeing anything besides what Team Liquid is bringing to the table. Jan on Zeri, Armeo on the bear as he dives in and brings the storm crashing down, lightning along with it. Spawn will die, double kill for Jan again. There's that disastrous fight. It already looks like they're about to wipe out the base.
They're in total control at this point, right? The first inhibitor going down at 19 minutes. Some people say this might not be a good thing, but when you have this much control of the map, you can kind of do whatever you want.
You have only a 13k gold lead.
Yeah, you only don't take them when you think that you can't end the game in the next 5 minutes. And Team Liquid should feel very confident they should be able to end the game, but they're spotted on a ward, and they're okay.
Yeah, the fact that they have most of their members having double the gold of their opponent, of their opposition, I don't think they're very worried about being picked off at this point. It's just really about seeing if they can get off these bases so they can end the game. But at the moment, they still are way ahead. They haven't even had to back and they're already ahead with Dignitas, who've gotten the resets, they've gotten the recalls off to try to see if they can remain as relative as possible.
And I feel like one of the big things we have to look at for Team Liquid is the fact that it is 19 minutes, right? They were trying to get their backs off so they could start hitting the Baron basically on spawn. And Dignitas, to their credit, they don't get to do it on spawn, but it's not going to take that much longer. Dignitas are being forced into a fight at 20 minutes when they have a 13,000 gold deficit. They have nothing to really play for. Jan is almost on 3 items while Spawn is trying to finish his first. This is a situation that Team Liquid put teams in, and they are not going to let them have any opportunity to take this. It's on Insanity, if anybody, to try and find the last bit of damage he needs on Jan.
And at this point, it is looking difficult to even touch Jan, unless he's caught out and burst immediately before Ayla is able to save his life with the bailout. I don't think they're going to be able to effectively kill him, and now we turn into the spot lane. Right. That's how far ahead Harry is. He can just dive in, bada bing, bada boom, the snap back. Monkey will live, but he took a lot of a big beating from that.
And he has to back up, right? He's down 80 CS up against Bradley. And XU, he wins a lot of 50-50 smite fights, but I don't know if he can get in.
I don't even know if it's worth it at this point, because Harry's just soloing out Tony Top. Boom! Killing spree for him off the Monkey King with the Baron secured as well. In the fight afterwards, JJ tries to get out of this one, but he cannot escape the axes of Bradley. Only Insanity can, because he had some soldiers to bail him out.
0 deaths, a near perfect game. Only 2 dragons going over to Dignitas at this point. Team Liquid trying to end the game in just over 21 minutes. JJ and Tony Top are dead. Ouch.
Easy lightning crash, easy kill. Sky Splitter doing most of the health to make sure they get a double kill for a spawn. This game's been over for a while, and it might not have been as quick as yesterday in Game 1 against Immortals. It is nearly as dominant, with only losing those 2 dragons earlier on to Dignitas. They have not relented a single turret, a single kill to the side of Dignitas. And now, when they look at their lowest, they look like they might die. They could still fight back. They got bailed out for Bradley. You cannot kill them. This Renata from Ayla is too damn powerful, and JJ will fall.
You know, I know that exact feeling coming through from Dignitas. They're just like, please, we have to get at least 1 kill. But Ayla, just as he did it for Harry in week 1, doing it for Bradley in game 2, or week 2, finally finding the bailout, getting Bradley another couple of kills, looking for even more. Team Liquid are looking unassailable by anybody except CLG right now. 21 minutes ending the game, no deaths, only 2 dragons going over. You have to ask, like, what more can you ask from other teams? Dignitas found the route onto Yon, and they still weren't able to capitalize in a 5v4.
I think I have it in my notes. What needs to happen? When they lost, Team Liquid did to CLG, there was no Zeri played. Simple. Ban Zeri. Do not let Yon have Zeri anymore. I swear to God, if any team gives up that Zeri can, they deserve what they get. But let's toss it to a break. When we come back, we'll have our wonderful host of Sierra with us for some nice halftime show. Make sure you stay tuned.